Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time for another episode of Oxygen Not Included in our Ultimate Base 2.0. In between the episodes I left the game running for a little bit and took care of a few things. First and foremost, we have now almost cleaned up everything. We also produced some more ceramic. I got rid of almost the entirety of the mealwood. We are now living on grub fruit plants. I also researched a little bit what we have to do in order to get to the next stages, and it looks as though we are going to need plastics. That means we will have to go into the other world as well. However, there are a few more things we can research right now. Yeah, as a matter of fact, there is still tons of research we can get out of the way. Most importantly, we need some rocketry stuff, otherwise we will not even be able to continue with the research. Checking out the stations here, the orbital microlab is the next thing, and you can see it has to go in a rocket's interior. So I think what I'm gonna attempt at the beginning is finally get my duplicants into exosuits. We have all of these stations ready for us. Though one more research we definitely need to get out of the way before we move the duplicants is the bathrooms. Another problem we're gonna run into is the food storage. We'll have to take care of that somehow. I think I wanna do that right now. If we manage to fill up the lower portion here with carbon dioxide, we could get away with it. Let's see, maybe first of all, let's go ahead and set up a bunch of these gas vents. We want to pump everything into here. I also want to take apart the upper row of the odorizers. We're not going to need that anymore. However, we're going to exchange it with a pump. What we want to achieve here is probably just use some igneous rock in order to set up insulated pipes. I'm going to choose the right ladder spot for my oxygen. And then basically all we have to do is connect it to each of the vents, like so. Pretty straightforward, I would say. So there's gonna be another vent here on the top. Right now there is a tile. I guess we can just move it later on. And we're gonna continue with the oxygen pipe, go down here and fill up all of the exosuit stations. And this is also where we want to run the heavy watt conductive wire. At the moment this is a little bit of an overkill and I probably don't have enough materials, but what we can do is normal heavy watt wire. I'm also gonna go ahead and actually run this behind the ladders. Let's see, yeah, we do have enough resources to make this work. We might be able to set up some more coal generators here. They should theoretically survive. That's not what I wanted to see. Yeah, look at that. It's already cooled down a bit again. This polluted water bottle is almost empty. I think it's time to deconstruct these liquid reservoirs once again. And then, as I said right here, I would like to set up a gas pump connected with the pipes and some power. I'm also gonna go ahead and build a bunch of Atmos suits. We are gonna get started with 6 suits, and another thing I want to do is have the repair worn Atmos suit on infinite crafting. Replace those liquid reservoirs again, thank you. Research is completed, let's finally get into this branch. We are gonna unlock anything sanitation, and then looks like some more rocket stuff we can unlock. Another thing I wanted to do is set up a storage bin in order to collect all of the seeds automatically. This goes on my nerves. So all the seeds you find go in this chest. Thank you. With our new farm, one more thing we should track is the sulfur. We don't want to run out of that resource. There's some more to dig up. We're not going to run into issues immediately, but still. Wonderful. Research already completed. Let's think about the bathroom. It's going to go right here. Bathroom can only be like 64 tiles, so this is going to be our size. What we want to do is set up 4 sinks and 4 toilets. Laboratories, they are called. They're gonna go right there. And this actually adds up perfectly, so we can close off the room right here and set up another door. If we have a look at the furniture, another thing we can do is use the molding in order to make things even nicer. And I believe the easiest material we can use for that is granite, since it has a higher decoration value. So we're gonna place all of that right here, and there are gonna be some corner moldings as well. We can actually do the same thing here in the Great Hall if we want to. And of course we can even go as far as placing these guys inside of the bedrooms. Why the heck not? Since we're already at it, I'm gonna do that. In the meantime, I'm already gonna prepare myself in order to set up some food containers on this side, just temporarily. And then I guess we can also already think about the kitchen. If we set up a door here, we could even go ahead and make this symmetrical eventually. In terms of food, I would like to have everything, even if we don't necessarily need it, such as the microbe musher. We're then gonna set up an egg cracker right there. Then let's see, the gas range is gonna be about 3 tiles, and then we also have a grill. And of course this is gonna be its own separate room. Yeah, I can see this working. Looks like we're gonna need a higher priority for our exosuit forge, since we don't have a dedicated operator just yet. Another thing I almost forgot, we can now permanently crack up the hatchling eggs. We don't necessarily need them anymore, we only want the stone hatchlings. Wunderbar, May. That's what I'm talking about. Be brave. Atmosuits are being crafted, that means we can go ahead and deliver a couple of these suits. We will also have to continue with our heavy watt wire that I'm just gonna drag across the board. Actually, I think for simplicity's sake, we're gonna go down here at the exosuit stations. Also, this station right here, I'm gonna remove, no, not deliver suit. And then I guess we're just gonna lead the wire all the way downstairs in order to supply our machinery. In terms of decorations, these cables are quite devastating. You can see total decor is minus 420 or so. So eventually we do want to exchange them, and if possible, we want to run the machines on a different type of cable. So for the most part, I'm gonna attempt to run these cables where we don't necessarily do too much damage. And that means right here at the bottom, I also want to set up some power transformers so I can lead normal wires through all of the other things. So I can lead some of the nicer conductive wires through the walls to our machines. Another thing I thought we should do is replenish our water. At the moment we still have some chill water in here, so if we mix this up with the hot water, maybe actually let's use this source here. This might actually work in our favor. We could just go ahead and dive down here in order to set up a pump. I should be able to get most of the liquid in the joint this way. Then we're gonna use this cable, connect it right there, and we also need to set up a pipe. This can be granite, I guess. This way we are also cooling it slightly down as it travels through the base. Now let's be careful, I don't want to mix those pipes. We can actually go ahead and bridge over here in order to avoid that. This can all go down all the way over here, and I guess at this point we can just go ahead and drop it. It's gonna be cooled down at this place especially a little bit. It's of course also gonna heat up the place, but we're about to leave it anyways, doesn't matter. In terms of power, I would like to see a large power transformer. We can use iron to do that. Let's maybe get started with 2 of these. Looks like we have a slight polluted oxygen problem here. Yeah, this is not good. I'm gonna go ahead and set up a couple of deodorizers. Another one should go right here, please. And then I guess it would be best to mop this all up, to be quite frank. Actually, we don't necessarily have to do that. All we have to do is maybe set up another ladder system here and take things apart. And then the next row will go right there. Also take this apart. I'm not sure why this is always the case, but I always have to tell them to actually sweep up the atmosuits in order for them to be delivered. And then this liquid lock, I thought we could fill up with the crude oil we found. It doesn't need to be a big liquid lock. There's just a tiny amount of crude oil that could already be enough for our purposes. The reason I don't want to use water in this place is because it's still very cold and I'm just afraid it's gonna freeze over. In terms of research, we're gonna continue with everything we can do thus far. This is gonna be important for the park sign. We want to make the nature reserve, of course. However, we're gonna need to find some pips for that. Another research is out of the way. We now have access to the park sign. Let's not do that with gold. Iron should be good enough. I'm actually gonna set up 2 park signs for symmetry's sake. And thinking about this, we don't want to set up the park signs first. What we have to create is a bunch of natural tiles that we can only achieve using 2 mechanized airlocks. This is actually quite an interesting mechanic, but if we set up the mechanized airlocks like this and also set up a metal tile in the middle, we are able to create a natural tile. So all we have to do is use one of these metal tiles and then set them up right here in the center. And if we deconstruct this, we should be able to form a natural tile. Also, we're gonna need some joint plates, and I'm actually gonna go with the better version of the joint plates already, so this is out of the way. However, we're gonna have to make some more materials. I'm gonna do about 20 iron crafts and another 30 or so copper crafts. We still have 35 tons of coal. That is good. Our hatchlings are doing a great job. I think what I'm gonna do is set up about 3 more of these coal generators. Thinking about it, we also want more smart batteries. I need to wait a little bit for the refined metal. In terms of research, we're gonna keep going with everything that only requires blue and purple research. At this point, I have nothing pressing, but you know, it's good if we get this out of the way. I just wanted to be careful in the beginning a little bit since research requires a lot of water. But there we go, the gas pump is actually going for it, which is a good sign. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And I just noticed and realized that of course 1 gas pump is not going to be enough. What we want to do is set up 2 gas pumps like this. As you can see, one gas pump is only pumping 500 grams of oxygen, and in order to get a full pipe we want 2 pumps. This could be a slight issue with our current wire, so what I'm gonna do is disconnect this actually, and we're gonna start hooking things up with the more advanced wire. Actually, I'm gonna move this to the left a little bit, so this is gonna be hooked up like so, actually like so, and we can then go ahead, use the bigger wire in order to supply our pumps. Also gonna use the pliers mod to get rid of this connection. Ah, okay, my Atmo suits have been delivered to a storage bin from the looks of it. That means we don't want the clothing in the storage bin right now. Or actually, let me just disable these all together for now. Alrighty, we are back and we've actually made some enormous progress. As you can see, almost everything is now finished. Well, actually that's far from the truth, but you know what I mean. In preparation of moving my cooking setup, I already set up a pipe, as you can see right here. This is going all the way down to my chlorine area. So my intention at the moment is to fill up this place here with chlorine so I can store my food in here. This should all be kept in this compartment since the chlorine is heavier than the oxygen. You can also see we have the base nicely pressurized. Breathability is absolutely amazing. All I'm waiting for is for Chin to build these heavy conductive joint plates. We're actually almost ready to get this going. I'm already gonna start up pumping a little bit of chlorine and the occasional carbon dioxide. We now also have more water in the joint again. It is pretty hot down here. Doesn't matter too much to us. Soon enough we're gonna find ourselves in exosuits outside of the base. Another thing I wanted to take care of is filling up this polluted water pool. We have some more polluted water ready right here. So let's go ahead and do a setup for this. Just need a pump. Then we're gonna bring up some pipes, go all the way down to here. Well, let's do it a little bit nicer. This is another pipe that is going to eventually disappear. It doesn't really matter how we set this up. Let's actually make our way up here into the vent. That should be good. A couple of bridges necessary. Also need this cabling. That should be plenty more polluted water. I need to be careful here a little bit because of course we have slime lung in the joint. Not my proudest moment over there. Another thing I realized is I set this totally up the wrong way. In order to make natural tiles, we have to have a setup like this, of course. The door in the middle, and after deconstructing the door, you will get this natural tile made out of copper at the bottom. But you have to have it sealed off in a fashion like this. All we want to accomplish is 4 of these natural tiles. I was now also ready to get rid of my meal ice completely. I composted it, and as you can see we have our first adult grub taking care of and improving the grub fruit plants. Yeah, this is still not perfect. We need a bunch more, and also polluted oxygen. I don't like to see that. We want to grab carbon dioxide and chlorine mostly. So when the chlorine has disappeared, I'm just gonna wait for a second until this can float over a little bit more. I also got my large power transformers in place. One of these is gonna supply the aqua tuner with power, which takes 1200 watts, so we have 800 watts left. The 800 watts we can probably use for our cooking equipment. I think that might be a good idea. Let's have a look at power. We want to go with the conductive wire this time around. And I'm actually gonna build this all out of iron. We're gonna lead the conductive wire here through the floor. It's gonna hop over, supply this with power, supply that with power, and we need a conductive bridge to finish this off. In terms of recreational rooms, let's see what we got. We already got access to the jukebox. I'm going to place this guy right there. Mechanical surfboard, I probably would like to avoid that if at all possible. However, in due time I would like to set up a chooser. Let's see where we want to place this. On the left side, I think I'm gonna have an arcane cabinet, then we have a statue, and then there's gonna be the chooser. We can do a little bit more pumping. There we go, we almost took care of the chlorine at this point. This is absolutely wonderful. Gene is done with his research, so finally he's building those joint plates, allowing us to fill up the exosuits. Over here we're gonna have a special recreational area, but for the time being, I think I'm just going to move my bathroom setup a little bit. So don't be confused about the double bathrooms. I just want my setup over here so that I don't have to do the piping just yet, since I'm not 100% sure about the setup. But at least in today's episode I would like to accomplish moving everything over that is necessary for survival, so we still have everything together a bit. The jukebox is actually taking 960 watts. That is quite a lot, I have to admit. The chooser itself is only taking 120 watts. But I'm still a little bit tempted to use the heavy watt wire to accomplish that. I guess we'll have to see. First and foremost, let's take apart this mechanized airlock, start creating those natural tiles. There we go. Please still work. Thank you. Perfect. Now, one more thing I need to take care of is make sure we only have pure oxygen in here. Sometimes I'm picking up some polluted oxygen, for instance. I don't want that. So I'm taking apart these two ladder pieces that are in the way. And what we actually want to do is do a little bit of research. I need a specific sensor for that, namely the liquid pipe thermosensor, but it should be the gas version. Yes, we want that thermosensor, and we might also need a NOT gate. Did I unlock that yet? No, the NOT gate I will also have to unlock. So 2 more researchers to go in order to get the pure oxygen. The biggest reason we want pure oxygen is because otherwise these guys right here, the atmosuit dogs, are gonna get damaged. They can only take pure oxygen, no other gases please. Already got my 2 natural tiles on the left, just the right side to go. Okay, looks like we're pretty much secure at this point. This is absolutely perfect. That means I'm not gonna need this system anymore because we have way more than enough pressure. I mean, this should hold up. Actually, I'm just gonna leave it in place in case we need it still. But that essentially means we wanna copy over the settings and bring all of our food over here. Now, do I really want to do that? Are we ready for it? One problem we might encounter is duplicants wanting to go back to the printing part because they like to do that in their free time if they have nothing else that is better. The jukebox isn't hooked up just yet, so that's not gonna be an option for them. It's also taking a little more power than I'm comfortable with right now. You know, we might just have to risk it at this point. I'm gonna send up one of my wires over there. This is only temporary since it's gonna be overloaded otherwise. But if we have the jukebox hooked up, I'm pretty sure they're not gonna complain anymore. All done with the natural task. Wonderful. So these can go. And we're gonna go ahead and set up a park sign here. All we need is a bunch of pips planting some seeds for us. Woo, we got a care package with glass. Gladly taking that. It's also time to remove these storage bins. Okay, what do you say? Are we ready for this? I mean, no risk, no fun, right? Let's go ahead and take apart the other things. For instance, we don't want our beds right here anymore. All of these can actually go. And instead what I'm gonna do is assign all the beds right here. So everyone should have a new bed. I'm not gonna take any risks. That's 6 duplicants and 6 beds. They can now take a poop right over here. That also means we don't need this setup any longer. And that should actually make them move over permanently. Let's have a look at some automation here. What we wanted was the liquid pipe element sensor. No, gas pipe element sensor. We're gonna place that right here. This is gonna detect what gases we have in the pipe itself. We're also gonna set up a gas vent right here. And what we want is a NOT gate in between. That means we are gonna set this sensor to detect pure oxygen. If it is pure oxygen, we wanna close the gas vent. If we just went ahead and connected this straight up, then the gas vent would open whenever there is oxygen, but we don't want that. We want it to go into a NOT gate first and then be hooked up to the automation wire. Therefore, back in the research tree, we want to research this NOT gate for sure. Oh, another thing I almost forgot. Obviously, we also have to take apart the Great Hall here. Not gonna need that any longer. This actually really feels good. That also means we can disable the oxygen diffuser, if I'm not mistaken. We can see right now I'm struggling a little bit with polluted oxygen coming over here. I believe that might be from this pool. So I kind of want to make sure we get this under control. Of course, actually it looks like we don't have any power. That might have something to do with it. I'm gonna increase Bunny's operating priority a little bit. This might help with filling up the coal generators. And yes indeed, she did just that. Absolutely wonderful. Alright then, breathable air, oxygen, that's what we want to detect. We can see right now a whole bunch of polluted oxygen is making its way all the way up here, which is in turn damaging my atmosuit dogs. Not very good. Alright, we are back and the move has been completed. The old barracks, kitchen and toilets have been taken apart. I actually went into the schedule and gave them 1 extra slot of downtime. Right now we are still in the transitioning phase, so some stuff didn't work. For instance, Bunny is now sleeping on the floor here. But we got the jukebox in place and a couple of decorative items, which makes this room a recreational room. Also, the kitchen is now functioning and we are still gathering up our food that we want to store down here. In the beginning, without the transit tubes, this is gonna be a little bit of a nuisance, but I think eventually it's gonna be worth it. Of course, right now the commutes upstairs are pretty long, admittedly. But yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with the results thus far. We are still crafting like maniacs here. However, everyone outside of the base is now wearing a Atmo suit. Now, I just want to observe, for instance, Jean and Bunhee are on their break right now. Bunhee is grabbing some food, eating the food. Let's see what she does after that. Hopefully she's spending her time in this room. Yes, okay. Now they don't tend to go downstairs again. That's why they were sleeping on the floor. They attempted to go to the printing pod and then they didn't have enough time in order to get back up and to go to bed. But after Bunhee is done, she is pretty happy. That should also have a good influence on her morale. Yeah, we can now probably risk going over the 10 morale. Let me just observe this for a couple of cycles, but then we should be able to spend more skill points. Within the Atmo suits, the duplicants are significantly slower. I believe it decreases their athletics by 5. So eventually what you would like to see is everyone having the exosuit training skill. Or alternatively, you can just wait for long enough in order for them to raise their athletic skills, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, now soon enough, one of our next goals is going to be to find alternative sources of power. We cannot live on so much coal all the time. It's already going down to 20 tons right now, so we need to be slightly careful about that. But there we go. After a couple of cycles now, everyone seems to make it back to their beds in time. That is just what I like to see. Great, I'm actually pretty happy with the development so far. We should have enough oxygen even without using the algae, just from the polluted water itself. This means in the next episode we should poke our hole through here, set up the telescope and a rocket in order to do some more research, and then I should be able to wrap up everything here. I should be able to finish this Great Hall room, and then we should also be able to automate everything. So eventually I would like to pick up the food right here that I'm currently cooking up here. We're then gonna bring it over to the Great Hall so it's nearby the mess tables, and then everything should be fine, hopefully. Cool. I would say with that out of the way, we're gonna wrap it up for today. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to support the video. You would absolutely make my day. Have a great time and see you in the next one. Bye bye.